I'm going to start this side. We've got two of the young people from the cast, Thomas Pedersen and Ilay Irsen, the four professional actors, Katie Smale, Henry Chappell, Jamal Abdul, Yasmine Meaden, yes. The writer, James Kenworth, G. Sinha, who already introduced himself to you, and our wonderful director, Jade Ward Mcfarlane. Thank you. So, for those of you who don't know much about the Newham plays, this is the seventh in a series of plays written by James. The first premiered in 2012, and they have three key components. One, that the stories told celebrate the people in the history of Newham. Two, they are performed in site-specific and indeed site-responsive venues that are specific to the story, like Tate Institute. And three, they have, like you've seen tonight, a combination of professional actors working with local people and brilliant young people. When I first came across the Newham plays, these things really excited me, and as I say, it's my third time back and really pleased to see it continue to develop. Now we have a really interesting full circle of those three components that I've just told you about. The first play in 2012 featured, amongst the cast of young people, Jade. Rather than start with James as the writer, I thought I would start with you, Jade. Before we talk specifically about this play, tell me, how did that experience, that first Newham play, affect you?
I think I've always been a part of theatre since I was, as cliche as it sounds, about 7, and was performing for Theatre Royal in Stratford for a lot of my growing up of age, from the age of about 10 going up to 18, and I always loved drama, always loved performing, and I was at school, and James had came down with a director that I knew at the time, Matthew Zia, who I was familiar with when I was at Theatre Royal, and the opportunity was there, would you like to join? And at that age, and even how I am now, was absolutely, yeah, I'm going. And then we went down to, what was the building called in Bow?
Kingsley Hall.
Kingsley Hall, and it was during, this 6 weeks holiday, and it was 2 weeks working with, professional actors, and I was only 14, and then with the young company, and it was just, I just loved it. It was inspiring, and working with professionals at the time, and knowing that was the career that I wanted to go down. It was just amazing to do it, and it was such an interesting play. I still remember it until now. What it felt like for me to be inside of a site responsive performance inside of a non-conventional theatre space, and how much I loved it and enjoyed it. Working with such an amazing writer, director at the time, and a professional cast. So yeah, it was amazing.
And you went on to pursue theatre making as a career?
Yes, I did, yeah.
What then compelled you to return to work with James as a director now in this capacity?
It was that literally full circle moment. I'd just finished directing a play called For Black Boys Who Would Consider Suicide When the Heat Gets Too Heavy. And I got a message from Matthew, again, saying, how, I think I might have something for you. And then I got an email from James, and was like, you was in my first ever play back in 2012. And I couldn't believe, the whole moment. We were all just, in complete awe. It was just strange, and surreal. And I was like, okay, I'd love to, have a chat with you and kind of reconnect. And yeah, it just kicked off then, didn't it? And as soon as I read the script, I was just, fell in love with it. Coming from East London myself, Newham, the connections that I have with, Canning Town, my family from Stratford, born and bred, in generations. I felt deep connection to the play anyway. And then, the house music that was involved, and the techno, my dad being one of the pioneers of house and garage music, and growing up within that environment, and in that being in the play, it just almost felt like it was written for me. Yeah, loved it. It was a great moment, yeah.
So James, you're now on to the 7th play in 14 years. If you had to summarize the journey from 2012 to today, why do you keep doing it?
obsession. is obsession. You know, I think most writers, I think it's fair to say maybe like actors, I think, and all creatives, it's just, you know, it's an itch that go away, I've got to do it. I get so much pleasure, so much fulfillment from it, from working with a creative team and actors. And I don't want to sound like bragging, but, you know, I think for writers it's important. I do think I've got things to say. Whether the audience wants to hear it or not, they haven't got any choice. Come to me, you know. So yeah, and I have to say, I didn't think with 2012 when Chappell met Candy that it would get up to 7, and I'm determined to make it to go further. I don't know what 7 is in mathematical, is a septet, is it, or is that 8?
I'm not sure.
7. Yeah, I just want to.
I think we need to get to double digits.
Yeah, thank you, Terri. Absolutely, I'm determined.
Okay, and one of the other components we talked about is about the importance of the space. With this play in particular, I believe you indeed were inspired by Tate Institute. Tell us about that and how you brought it
utterly. Yeah, because I know that obviously Angel of Prisons about Elizabeth Fry was done at Canning Town Library because they've got an Elizabeth Fry room, and then Madgill about the outsider artist who was born in Newham. That was done in Art in the Docks. You know, really, really interesting, site responsive or site specific. There's so many terms for it, but it's just like, no, not in a theatre anymore. that is old hat now, and I think. But here is got such a strong connection to me because I used to live in Beckton. I spent about 15 years in Beckton, so I'd always walk here. And I know I've told this story many times to G because I'm so happy we're here. Is I used to pass this building when ReSpace hadn't taken it over. I thought, what a beautiful building! Why isn't someone doing something before? The rapacious landlords come in, and I was, very cynical, thinking, property development, whatever, luxury flats. And then to my amazement, I found out about ReSpace. I must have walked past and thought, someone's in there. Someone's doing something creative, imaginative. Wow, must get in touch with the head honcho.
And had you already had in mind a play about the Silvertown strike?
Oh yeah, I knew that the Silvertown strike, I think it's 100 yards from here or down the road. It certainly is very close here, and you had the railway tavern and so forth. And it's a really interesting part of Newham. I think it is. It needs a lot of love. It's a little bit forgotten. If you take Stratford, which is the showcase, and down here is fascinating history and heritage. There's also really interesting Eleanor Marx, and because I've had my eye on her, so to speak, for a long time. Because my third Newham play, I was about to say Keir Starmer. Keir Hardy. That would be really weird. Keir Starmer in 1889. The play about Keir Starmer winning, his seat as an independent MP.
You did say Keir Starmer.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Keir Hardy. Let's get Keir Hardy, and then the birth of the Labour Party and New Unionism. I know that Eleanor Marx, when I was researching, taught Will Thorne, one of the superstar New Unionists, how to read and write. So, she's interested, and of course, when you've got her father.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come back to this and we'll bring the actors in, but I just want to, before we move on to the company, G, you told us a little bit about Tate Institute at the interval, but just set the scene. So this existed at the time of the strike, didn't it? It opened in 1887. The strike was in 18...
It was actually built in 1878.
Okay.
But for 9 years, it kind of sat a little bit unused as I think they were working out what to do. It's a bit of a grey area in history, but it started officially in 87.
So do you think that some of the strikers would have actually inhabited this space?
I think it's undoubted because of the role it played in the resilience of the area anyway. They had to meet in places and they had to talk in places, and those places were public houses and were the institute. And also, as families more and more got involved, this place provided a fundamental home for the extended families of those workers as well. Yeah. So it served a role the pubs couldn't on their own serve.
Okay, let me turn to the professional actors now. We've talked about these 3 key components that make this series and this production different, I suppose. Were those aspects attractive to you guys when considering getting involved in the project? Who wants to go first? I'll start.
We're never normally this shy.
I know.
No, you pick.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there's something really special about the fact that it's site-specific, especially having met some audience just the last couple of days who have connections to this place and to the factories nearby and everything. And I think there's something, I mean, the writing for one was so attractive and exciting to me. And the fact that it's in the building, there's something that is just, you can't really explain, an extra kind of feeling and connection that is really exciting, because you often get an opportunity to play people who might not necessarily be real people, but because it's so rooted in real people, there's something like really important about it actually, and precious about getting the opportunity to do that and give it the value and respect that it deserves. So that was a big draw for me.
So each of you four do play, prominent people from history. Eleanor Marx, Will Thorne, Karl Marx, and others. But you also, the three of you, play the ghosts themselves. Are those based on real people, the ghost stories?
Yeah, I guess, in theory, right? They're maybe not exact specific people, but real people who would have, or I guess ideas of people who would have taken place.
Yeah, with horrific means by which they inspired. Really awful. Jamal, what about for you? What was one of the big attractions for you? Any one of those aspects?
I think it was, mostly for me, it was the three characters coming together and going through all of these hardships and just asking why, and like actually acting on the whys and wanting to do something about it to make things better for people. And I feel like that's real for me anyways, in like the world we're in today. A lot of people sit around talking about how dead the situation is, and how things aren't going their way, but no one really wants to do anything about it. But what was so powerful about this is that they all did something about it, and they all came together to make things happen, and it worked out in their favour. I mean, there's beauty in it.
And the play itself delivers to us as an audience such a powerful message about that we do have power, and particularly in collective action, and brings it, as James has sought to do, not just a period piece, but very much and in the direction, making it about modern resonances, I guess. But Henry, we haven't heard from you. What attracted you? Do you like playing the bad guy?
Yeah, I do. What attracted me to the play? Well, I'm a proud Marxist myself. I think Karl Marx is a crucial figure in history. I think that I like British Labour history a lot. It's obviously the anniversary of the general strike this year. I think that we need to tell more stories about British Labour history and just put ourselves in context. And I think that is what this play does really well, because it flits around, it literally places you in a context and places this building in context and the area in context. And I think that's incredibly important. So I think that's what attracts me to play. And also my funny story, my great aunts worked in the sugar factory and spent a majority of their social life in this building, including winning the beauty contest one year.
Wow.
My great aunt Margaret was Miss Tate and Lyle one year.
Brilliant.
So that I didn't really know that part. I knew that my aunt Pat worked there, but I didn't know that both of them did, and one Miss Tate and Lyle. So that also attracted me to it. But
on the subject of labour history, I wonder, Will Thorne, that you play, I mean, he went on to become one of the first Labour MPs, isn't that right?
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I think so. Is that right, James?
Yeah, that's right. And I think and Newham's got a Will Thorne Pavilion named after him, so he's a really important figure in the new unionism. Yeah.
And Katie, Yasmine, playing Eleanor Marx, what a woman, and so powerful, everything in your two performances. But I was really moved, especially Katie, with your scene about her final moments. But what do you think? She took her own life at 43. She had already accomplished so much. If she hadn't, have you imagined what she might have gone on to do?
I imagined it. I guess it's difficult because with things like that, I think that as much as she was like very, very powerful, she was just clearly had so many conflicting things going on for her. Like, I guess she would have just wanted to carry on being with the people. I felt like that was her conflict. She wanted to be with the people, she wanted to help them, but it was too much for her. So she would take on everyone's burden, and at the same time she was in this extremely toxic relationship. So I think if she could have got around those things, I mean, just to carry on fighting the cause that she clearly deeply believed in. I mean, she wasn't particularly from money herself, was she? So it's like, you know, looking at other people, and I guess it's any fight, isn't it? If the only people fighting are the people who are the ones who are being oppressed, it often fails to work.
Yes.
You need people on the other side who are looking and realising and seeing.
Allies are very important. Okay, to Ilay and Thomas, I haven't forgotten you. Have either of you appeared in a previous Newham play?
No.
What's the experience been like for you, Ilay?
Incredible. I mean, we're currently doing this through our summer break.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, Thomas, but I personally couldn't imagine doing anything else right now. Like, meeting all these amazing people. Shout out to Patrice and Tony, who are, like, backstage taking care of us. And, like, just everybody who were able to build this set and everything. Like, they're all incredible, and it's lovely to meet.
Yeah. And Thomas, what's the highlight been for you so far?
Similar to Ilay, it's just everybody coming together to do something amazing, really. And also just how everyone is being, like, serious when they need to be serious, but also just having a lot of fun. And that's the main point of this, just to have fun and to show the audience, like, about this area and about the time period and everything.
And have you learned?
Yeah,
much
I
about-
actually have learned a lot.
Yeah. About the history and also about acting, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, sorry. Over to you, finally. What's your...
I guess my question was, what was the reason why you switched actors that played Eleanor?
Okay, well, can I direct that to the director? Why have...
Should look at me.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not really a question for me. It's more for a question. Sorry, James. It's more for a question for James. It's what is written.
Okay, James,
Yeah.
why do you have the two actresses share the role of Eleanor?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I thought we could have, it sounds odd to say we could have some fun with this, you know, when it's a very, you know, serious subject matter, and particularly what happened with Eleanor Marks. But I as soon as I got the idea, I mean, just as a, and I promised Terry I'll try to make it as short as possible, answer. I wasn't thinking of Three Ghosts originally. I was thinking, let's do it literally. And those industrial accidents, Grace and Joe suffer are, you know, that's based on the research I did. But as soon as I thought, if I make them ghosts, it is a bit opportunistic in the sense I thought if I make the three characters ghosts, I can play with language, because it doesn't matter, does it? If you're a ghost, it doesn't matter whether they're contemporary, you know, or old-fashioned or vernacular. As soon as you do that, you know, it's like that sort of magical realism thing. So I thought the three of them going to be, you know, like I remember saying to you that like they're sort of like a hip hop group, or you know, some amazing group at Glastonbury who work so well together they can swap and they can dive into each other's parts. And I thought it would be quite good to see how Lizzie channels Eleanor and how Grace channels Eleanor, because they're not
The different
you know,
perspectives that
yeah,
they have.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they're not you know, they're not playing her, they're just impersonating how they imagine Eleanor would have been.
But it also made a lot of sense to me, because it was almost like the weight of playing Eleanor. It was too much.
Yeah,
Yasmine, for
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
That's what appeared, like you couldn't bear it anymore. So it was a burden that had to be shared. Yeah, Ilay.
I just wanted to add, in my personal opinion, it also adds to the bipolarism
Yes.
of Eleanor Marks. You know, having the two different people portray her as if she had two different people inside of her. You know.
Well spotted. Do you want to add anything to that, please?
I think it almost was summed up by, you know, the cast here. I think it was a matter of perspective of Lizzie and Grace channeling Eleanor, and I quite like Ilay's analogy there of like that kind of bipolarness that Eleanor was experiencing. And I almost feel like Lizzie's character holds this kind of motherly strongness about her throughout the entirety of the play until it gets towards the end, and you see that completely break in front of everybody, this kind of strong, hard exterior that she holds to keep going on. And I think for Lizzie and Grace's relationships is that Lizzie takes on this kind of like, I'll keep going strong, I'll keep pushing forward, as to why she takes that cape in the end, that she mothers Grace throughout the play. So that could, you know, be a part of why, especially towards the end, that she takes that cape to protect Grace. I feel like Lizzie's character is always about protection ultimately.
I thought for a moment Jamal was going to take the cake, and then
Yeah. I mean, there is a little joke in there where he says, "Yeah, of course," but yeah.
Yeah, very good. Okay, other hands, yes.
My question is more about.
Could you just speak up a bit, please?
My question is about, again, following from this discussion about Eleanor Marks. Like, why was that? I think it was a choice to portray her as like being bipolar, because that's like, as far as I know, it's not like Eleanor Marks was diagnosed with like being bipolar, right? I guess what was the reasoning for portraying her in that way?
Yeah, why portray
You're
her
spot on.
What?
You're spot on. I have to confess.
Is there evidence that she might have been?
Well, I'm saying I have to confess that I just think you know, this. I feel strongly about this, and it's a really good question that you've got. I think to make it dramatic, you sometimes have to speculate. The research definitely referred to a wild mood swings, but you're absolutely right. There is. I don't think existed then. That obviously not that degree of mental health analysis, but she certainly clashed with her father quite a bit because of the going from being acutely depressed and then manic. So I thought I'm going to run with this. I'm going to speculate. It's the same with slightly veering off here to Lizzie. Is not Joe and Grace are that's what the research revealed. Those industrial accidents happen. In terms of Lizzie selling her body, that it was only implied in the research I did. So again, I speculated, this probably did happen, but I think it's not like I don't feel the need to defend myself because it's in the research, but you're absolutely right. There isn't a literal, book that says this is what she experienced.
Did you want to just say something quickly?
Yes.
But we need to move on. Yeah, go on.
It was just in terms of like choosing to portray Ellen that way. I suppose she's playing more of a role than Marx is, but I would say that Marx was kind of the way that he was portrayed was not. There's like lots of evidence where Marx would like get very angry, like he wasn't just like this kind of stoic man who just felt nothing. And so I guess I'd say that I think as an artistic choice, I think it was a good one, but I don't think it is necessarily like just that like Marx was the stable one and then Eleanor was unstable.
Well, Henry's going to come back and do a one-man show about Karl Marx. He's going to fill in all the gaps. But you obviously know your stuff. Thank you very much. I saw a hand over here. Yeah.
How long did it take to put this whole play together?
Yes. How long did it take?
10 days.
Yeah, I've been wanting to say that, and
Yeah,
you're absolutely
10
right.
days.
We only have 2 weeks.
Well, we say 2 weeks, but it wasn't 2 weeks because we're not in rehearsal. Sorry, I have to say this. We wasn't in rehearsal on Saturday and Sunday. I mean, my actors, we know, what we did to get this show as amazing and how beautifully they performed. But yeah, Saturdays and Sundays we weren't in rehearsals, Monday to Friday. So in total it was 10 days.
And just to give people some perspective, how does that compare with similar productions of this size?
It doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't. I suppose because you have more time, I guess, to, do like real deep diving into, character relationships and, intentions and the history and like really, you have to move very, very quickly, like building, the foundation with the cast and understanding the script and for your actors to understand the script and, everything is moving like 100 times faster than what it would on another production because you have that time to build and learn and grow as a show. Whereas with this, it's like you're building, learning, growing.
We're building a stage.
And you're
building a stage within one day. Like it's been like a crazy journey.
Was the script fixed from the beginning of the 10 days to the end of the 10 days?
Was the script fixed?
No, yeah. Did the script change between?
No.
Okay, so that.
It can't really.
No,
I don't want to sound like press. It can't. We just don't have the.
But it seems to me in watching the performance, my sense was that the company put their stamp on it, not just in terms of the performances, but like the songs, movement. It feels as if that was more of a group exercise, was it? How did you come about with the song choices and the
Well,
choreography?
Some of the song choices were within the script, which were like beautifully chosen. Some of the other songs were chosen from myself, where I almost get like these visions in the sense that I might read a script and then I get a flash in my head and I see the moment happening, especially when it's movement or anything kind of like physical theatre based. And that was where the other songs had like come into play. I then contacted a very good friend of mine who is an amazing movement choreographer, Dijon McIntyre, and I told him about the project and I was like, I'd love to have you on board, I've worked with him before. And he was like, yeah, I'm up for it. And then came down and we worked together like simultaneously building. I would like say to him, what about this, like if we add that and let's do that. And then he was like, yeah, this is great. And like we bounce off of each other really well. And that's how the movement came about in it.
And how is that cast members to perform? Are you having a lot of fun with those scenes?
Yeah, for sure. It builds quite a lot of energy as well.
So much energy. So much energy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but I mean, like, if you went into the first scene without that, I think it would lack the like bouncing off each other, like energetic quality.
And for the young people in particular, Ilay.
And also, the movement stuff is one of the only opportunities we have in the play to kind of come together with the lead actors. So it's just a really fun moment for all of us to up the energy and give it our all.
Great. Thomas, did you want to add to that?
Not too much, because I feel like everybody said things, but it was just really fun to go through the movements and also try and figure it out as a group. I mean, as Jade said, Dijon, the person that came to work with us, he really had a lot of the stuff ready, but he went through every single person, all the young company, all the professional actors, and directed them to move, especially for scene 12, which was the whole dance party, DJ scene where everybody was dancing. It took a while, but it was really, really good.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we've got time for one more question. Okay, we'll take two. Let's hear them both. Yes?
Hi, just one for the main for God. Sorry, I'll get my words out in a minute. I've had a long day and I've been working behind a bar. For the four main principles. Obviously, this is done in a new age way and it's done modern and everything else. But do you feel an extra pressure knowing that you are portraying historical characters, that you are portraying real events in the real place? Because I've got to say, all four of you absolutely nailed the sentiment and the feeling. I mean, you guys have blown me away all week, I've got to say. And I've seen a lot of this play, I can assure you. Is there that extra pressure? It's like, no, we've got to get this right.
Do you feel
because
extra pressure playing
context,
real historical figures?
I think it's just important to care about the people that you're telling the story of, and
to not judge them as well in any way. Just take them as they are, and find meaning in why they've made certain choices and done things. I mean, I even just watching Katie work, and I find myself being moved just watching her do those speeches and how authentic and real it all is. Sorry, I interrupted.
No. It's just I think it's just I just love Lizzie. I read it and I'm I love this woman. She's had no choice to be put in this position. So I think it's just having empathy for any choice that anyone makes. A character that you're playing is doing it because that's the only maybe choice they have, or they have something driving them. So I guess it's finding that reason why they're doing it.
Jamal,
Yeah, absolutely, just really proud.
Yeah, I think with Marx, it's there aren't that many maybe the cultural depictions of Marx, and I think it is just good to see it. You know what I mean? So I kind of felt less pressure because it was I'm able to help present just an aspect of him, however maybe accurate or not accurate, we're then beginning to understand him a bit more and put back to context.
Yeah, for me it was just wearing the character just carrying it in my heart and making it as real as possible and showing this young lad who went through so much at such a young age, and how he didn't even quite understand that yet himself. I feel like in the play, he was kind of unpacking everything himself as it went along. So just being able to make that as real, and like raw hitting for the audience, I guess.
With Yasmine and Jamal, your two characters, just where in the opening scenes when you tell their stories and how they die, and these horrific workplace accidents, it's just so, really gets you. Okay, the last audience question. Do you still have a question?
No, it's literally just ask the director, why did you specifically pick Silvertown or this area?
Okay, so for James, why did you specifically choose Silvertown for this play?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I suppose, you know, there is a, if I'm being honest, I mean, you may tell by my accent, I'm not from not an East Ender, but I've lived in Newham for a long, long time. And when I mean opportunistic, I don't mean that in a sort of, you know, crass way. I mean, I'm always on the lookout. Yeah. Because no offence to South London, West London. Sorry?
I think it's a story untold, but it was really graphic, etc. at the time. It was really lovely, and you brought the, you know, new age, old age, new age into it. That was really good. It was a bit scary as well.
Scary.
I think that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, but it was really great. We had all the, you know, you had the dates, everything like that, so people can go reflect and go, okay, it's Silvertown works, this happened, that happened. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Stratford, but I've lived here for over 30, nearly 40 years, and I love this place, and I love this place also. Remember when it was a working place, and I used to come in, sometimes I come up from work, I'm like, going to have a little drink. But, you know, I'll have a little drink in the working men's club thing, and then my children will come here and do karate and stuff like that. It's always been a community place, always. So I'm so happy that it's actually come back to this, and it's really lovely that we have, you know, we have like acting, etc. here. A fair play to all of you.
Yeah.
You nearly made me cry.
Wow.
But I think you've really beautifully encapsulated what I think is one of the purposes of the Newham plays, to give local people understanding and pride in their own stories and history.
Absolutely. No, I really appreciate what you
And
said
places.
there, and completely agree with you, you know, about the cast. It is deeply fulfilling as a writer to watch, you know, your play represented that way. About Silvertown, the first thing that interested me, that's a failed strike, because I'm sure you know, is the Dockers strike is the one that did win. And that has been definitely researched and explored and dramatised. I thought, Silvertown's gone under the radar there, and I love stories like that. And the other thing was quickly said that the language moving from vernacular to, you know, period and contemporary. I've done it in Angel and Prisons. I virtually will do it every single time if I've got a historical figure, biographical, unapologetically, because I don't want it seen as a museum piece. Because we all know the issues, wealth inequality, exploitation and greed are more relevant now than ever. So if you put it in the vernacular contemporary, I love that, the period and contemporary. Bridgerton does it so well. You know, I think, that we have.
The actors and actresses, wonderful, because they are portraying people from the past that we should never forget. So they will always be, you know, part of this community.
Yeah, and Silvertown their stories deserves to be heard, because it is, like I say, under the radar.
Thank you for that. So, as you mentioned, James, so the Silvertown the strikers did get starved out, but they obviously had a big influence on the labor and unionist movement and the many things to come, and obviously on the history of this area. But bringing it to the current period, final question, one-word answer from everybody on the stage with me, including you, James.
Wow. All right, I'll go. I'll go now.
No. In the anticipated next general strike, which I think you guys allude to, you know, we're going to rise up against the data centers and AI and the tech titans, and Elon Musk, definitely not a hero. But one word, do you join the picket line or cross the picket line? Join, like, do you strike or do you scab? Are you a striker or a scab?
Well, I would probably strike.
Yeah, strike.
Strike.
I don't think anyone can say
No one
scab.
can say
Yeah,
scab.
no one
I
can say
know,
scab.
I
No check, we're just gonna stick. Strike or scab?
Strike.
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 Right.
We are the picket line.
Yeah.
Strike. You gotta say strike. Strike?
I don't have to.
Alright, okay.
Yeah.
Strike or scab?
Strike.
Wow,
Terri,
my
could
point
we
was...
perhaps ask the audience?
Strike or strike?
I think you're going to
Are
show
we
of
gonna
hands.
strike?
Strike.
Any
Please.
Oh, put your hands up, put your hands
I'll
up.
do anything.
And
Wow.
I was just wishing to demonstrate that, as G said, we are the collective action right here. Thank you all. You have told a really important story. You have been an amazing audience. We love being in this space. So please come back, spread the word about Newham Plays. Join me in thanking Thomas and Eli and Katie and Henry and Jamal and Yasmine and James and G and Jade.
Yeah.